Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. What's up, YouTube? Live. We're live. Solid Sports and Gaming Channel. Solid Sports Video Blog, episode 266. Today's date is May 29th, 2024. Troy West here saying thank you so much for joining me this week. Um, Thank you guys so much. Uh, like I said, it's been sort of MIA for the most part, but I'm going to try to put out more content as we about to go into the month of June. I appreciate you guys so much for the support. Um, Definitely check me out on social media, IG, Facebook in particular. They're the two main social media platforms I be on where I post a lot of things. I do have TikTok and Twitter, but it's just harder to get to. That's all. Um, but I do have all those too. But I barely post anything on there. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Um, we got a nice show today. We got some things to talk about. Some things I just learned about this morning. Of course, we go look at the MLB, look at the current standings. Probably touch on a couple of surprising teams so far this year in in Major League Baseball. And also, I learned that they added the Negro League stats of their league. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. NBA playoffs, we're in full swing. We about to get to the finals. Celtics did sweep the Indiana Pacers to move on to the NBA finals from the East side. Mavericks couldn't finish off the Wolves. Wolves survive and they win Game 4, so they down 3 games to 1. So Dallas almost swept as well, but the Wolves hang on. Now they go back to Minnesota for Game 5, which is going to be an interesting game. I'll give my thoughts on that as well. And of course, NBA has some sad news, the passing of Bill Walton, one of the all-time greats. I give my thoughts on him, and we'll touch on a little bit of NFL today. I kind of ranked teams, who I think really like is almost like a must-win, like to do well this season. Teams under the most pressure to do well. I sort of ranked them. I kind of did it quickly. There's probably some other teams we probably could talk about as well. Or if you think your team is under a lot of pressure, I would like to hear from you as well. So I thank you guys for joining me this morning. I was actually on time. Had some things I had to do first, but of course I made it on time. Next Wednesday, not sure. I gotta check my schedule. I'll probably be on next week as well. I've been lucky to have the last 2 Wednesdays off work, so it's been easy to do a blog um, during this time. So thank you guys so much again. Or if you're watching the replay, thank you for the support. Don't really never have a big crowd in here in the moment, but sometimes I get some people to watch the replay. So shout out to my buddy B. Maybe we'll see him this morning. Hopefully so. I know he said he was busy last week with a test, so hopefully he did well on that test. If he come through, I'm definitely gonna ask him about it. Shout out to my man Cape. I haven't heard from him in a while, and just the rest of my YouTube family. Shout out to you guys. Let's go ahead and get into the show then. Um, like I said, no crowd yet, so um, definitely want to look at the MLB standings. Now we started to get to June, so still another month before the All Star break. The All Star break is when you really should start paying attention to what's going on, or who's ahead, who's in first place. Because usually, if you're ahead um, at the All Star break, most of the time you go ahead and win your division, which is really important now with the expanded playoff system now. So winning a division is huge. Because if you don't, you be a wild card team. You only have a short 3 game series to get to that next one. I think the I think the third division winner still has to play. Have to play in that wild card round. Um, so basically, the better your record, the better you are. Um, But we're just going to take a quick look at the standings. We'll start the American League. American League East, of course, going to be a dogfight all year. Yankees still in first place at 37-19. Baltimore Orioles, me favorite from Baltimore. I hear about the Orioles all the time. They're a game and a half back at 34-19. They come off a loss yesterday to the Boston Red Sox, who's hanging in there at 28-27, a game over 500. Tampa's sort of in the strike. I won't say striking distance for first place. Really, the Yankees and the Orioles is in their own bracket, and then you got Boston, Tampa, and Toronto. Um, so, but the way things looking around the rest of the league, you would think maybe you would get possibly three teams, but I don't know. It might be just the Yankees and the O's, and then maybe whoever finished third might be in contention, but we'll see about that. Um, so that's the American League East. The Central, I'm about to call them. I'm about to say the Indians. I mean the Cleveland Guardians. Still in first place. Um, have the best record in the American League just by one less loss though. But they've been playing very well. Jose Ramirez, having an MVP season right now, he would be my American League MVP. If I had to give it to someone, I think he would win that. Leading the league in RBIs, I believe. Leading the baseball in RBIs, I believe. So, not just the American League. So he's played very, very well for the Guardians. Have them in first place right now. But one of the surprises is the Kansas City Royals. What they had done so far, 34-22. Just 3.5 back of Cleveland. But um, Minnesota, like I said, they started off slow, but they turned it on. Had that 11-game win streak. Cooled back off again, but they right there. See, like the Tigers are coming back down to earth. Their game under. And the White Sox been playing better of late, but like I said, just the slow start really hurts them. That's why getting off to a slow start, a horrible slow start is bad. But there's still a lot of baseball to play, you know. But that's the only thing you can say about the White Sox. We go to the West, the Seattle Mariners, 30-26, right now, leading the West. Rangers and the Astros, you think they would be doing better right now, but I still think they're going to turn things around. I think Oakland's starting to come back down to earth as well. And the Angels are just a mess. Like, the Angels are just a mess. We'll see what happens with Mike Trout. He's supposed to come back this season. First, we thought he was going to be gone for the whole season, but he's going to try to work himself back, but he's just going to play DH if he does come back. So we'll see how that works out for them. But I just think they need to just overhaul everything. I think they really need to start over, in my opinion. And the A's, you know, they're going through their thing with the move to Vegas. They're going to be in Sacramento for, I think, a year or two with no name. So it's going to be crazy for those next two franchises. So basically, the top three, that's what it's going to be. But we'll see who will finally come out on top of that division. But this is going to be those three teams all season long, though. Let's go to the National League. The East, the Phillies continue to push on. They got the best record in baseball, 20 games over, 38-18. Atlanta Braves, my Braves, you know, I'm a Braves fan. Of course, the bad news about Ronald Acuna Jr. being gone for the season, torn ACL. So there'll be, I think, 2 out of the last 3 seasons he's missed entirely. But the sandwich in there is the MVP season. So, and he's still kind of young. So hopefully he comes back from it and be stronger than he ever was. But the Braves still should be somewhat fine. And it's going to basically going to be those two teams in that division. Everybody else, I want to say they done, like Washington. Actually, it's a little bit surprising that they're doing sort of well. 5 games under. Mets, another mess of a franchise right now. They 10 under. And then Miami, thought they'd be better, but I think they starting to sell a little bit. They already had some trades this year. So it's going to be the Braves and the Phillies from the East. Everybody else is pretty much, I don't want to use the word done, but I don't see them really getting that much better. National League Central, Milwaukee Brewers 8 games over. The Chicago Cubs a game over at 28-27. St. Louis been playing well. I watched a little bit of them. They played the Orioles last week, swept them. First team to do that in almost 2 years. So I think the Cardinals started to get some confidence. Pirates are fun to watch with their young players, 25-29. Then Cincinnati also 24-31. Um, like I said, I picked St. Louis. I'm not going to change that yet. I think St. Louis could come back and win this division, but the Brewers, um, uh, are just resilient. The Cubs also playing some good baseball, so we'll see how days go with that. I don't rule out Pittsburgh or Cincinnati yet either. So, um, then we go to the West. Is the Dodgers. Um, they kind of cooled off a little bit. They league has shrunk a little bit. Giants and the Padres are 5.5 back. Diamondbacks, National League champions last year. Um, not off to a good start. And the Rockies are the Rockies at 19-35. Um, tied for the worst record in baseball, pretty much with Miami. Um, Actually, yeah, you could say they're a little bit better because they got 2 less losses, but they got the same amount of wins. So, um, and that's your MLB update. But like I said, the teams, like I said, the Kansas City Royals has been surprising. Got to give the Guardians they credit as well. Um, and I think we'll see if they can sustain their success. In the National League, like I said, pretty much, well, the Phillies not really a surprise. They've been pretty much accosted the last couple of years. We'll just see if they're able to get a championship this time out of it. But you got to say they're a real contender. Them, the Dodgers, and the Braves in the National League, and then sort of everybody else. That's how I feel about the National League. American League, like I said, you got more teams that you know is capable of doing some things. Pretty much the whole AL East. Then you got Cleveland, Kansas City, Minnesota in that mix. In the West, like I said, I like Seattle a little bit, but we'll see if they can sustain this. I think the Rangers and the Astros are just going to get better as the year goes on. The Rangers, they got a lot of injuries. So did the Astros to begin the season, especially with their pitcher staffs. So I think once they get that straight, I think they're gonna make a push for first place. But like I said, I think the 3 teams is gonna um, battle for that all year. What's up, B? I'm glad you was able to make it, man. I understand, bro. I appreciate your support as always. Hope you did well on your test last week. Hopefully everything over your country is doing going better as well. Uh, like I said, I gotta try to be on here more. Wednesdays is pretty much the only day I can stream. Um, and like I said, I'm still trying to work my PlayStation uh, problem out and things of that nature. So, but I appreciate you being here, bro. I understand. I know you got school and stuff. It's the end of the seat. Well, I don't know if it's the same over there in your country, but here for our kids, it's the end of the school year, basically another 2 weeks, really. Um, so I understand you got to cram, got finals and all that stuff. So I definitely understand. So just appreciate you coming here. You always been supportive. You've been the most loyal um, in the last couple of years. So I appreciate you. I just hope, I just want to get back on the game so we can, I kind of missed that, so appreciate you, man. Um, but I know this American sports, so I know, like I said, just for you coming here for that, I appreciate it. So shout out to you, B. Hopefully sooner than later we'll talk like we used to through the PlayStation Network. So, and shout out to the PlayStation Network. Shout out to PlayStation. Period. Still the best gaming system in the world. So can't beat that. But yeah. But I've been really getting into my Switch though as well. So, um, but PlayStation is top of the bill right now. It's not even close. So. All right, well, we done with baseball now. Let's move to the NBA playoffs. Shout out to my buddy B again. Thanks for dropping by, bro. Appreciate that. Celtics already back in the finals again. Sweeping the Indiana Pacers. Before we get into Boston Celtics, let's give the Pacers some credit here. They had a great season overall. Got to the finals in the little play-in tournament, if that means anything, but I wouldn't think they would have been there. I thought maybe it would be Boston or one of the other East teams. Milwaukee was playing well at the time, but the Pacers got through and made it to the final. Of course, lost to the Lakers in that final. Um, this team is got a nice leaky. I just think they need uh, get a little bit more defensive minded. Even though the way the league is, they perfect for it, the way they shoot threes and play offense. But I think they need to get more defensive minded. Um, the East, like I said, the East period was just a lot of injuries. Philadelphia with Embiid had a lot of injuries. Miami with Jimmy Butler, he wasn't able to play. The Knicks broke down at the end. Milwaukee as well. Giannis was hurt, and that's in a series. Um, but the series that the Pacers did beat them in. Um, but uh, you still get them credit. They hung in there. They gave Boston a couple of good games. Like I said, I originally said this could go five, but once they lost game two, game one and two, and the way they lost, I was like, well, um, Boston, just this was just sort of another mission. Jaylen Brown has played very, very well. He won the MVP of the series. They call it the Larry Brown Award. Eastern Conference Finals MVP went to him. The debate been about him and Tatum. Tatum is still, I think, slightly better than Brown. Brown is right there, but I would say Tatum is still the better player. We'll see what they do in the finals. I think this is the opportunity. No matter even if somehow the Wolves come back and win this series, Boston to be heavy favorite. Um, no matter who it is, if it's the Mavs who like it's supposed to be, or the Wolves somehow comes back. And the Wolves held on last night. We'll talk about that in a second, but there's focus on the Celtics. Get like they say, Porzingis should be ready by next week because the finals will start to the 6th. So what's that? The first is Saturday, right? So yeah, so next Thursday. Next Thursday will be game one. Boston will have home court. They would definitely be favorite, but yeah, if they don't pull this off, I still think their window will be open, but I just think they'd be very disappointed. Um, yeah, even though they was just there, the Warriors, I didn't think they was gonna beat the Warriors anyway, 2 years ago because the Warriors just had the experience and what they got through to get there. It was definitely their experience that got them there, and they had to win it. I think it's a different story though. Drew Holiday, I think now is definitely paying off that they was able to lock him up and get him. He's a true point guard. He don't turn the ball over. I think that was their problems in the past, not having somebody to run the offense. So Brown and Tatum can sort of just play on the wing and just do their thing. Um, and they did good defensively as well. But Porzingis would definitely, um, if he comes back and play anything like he normally plays, um, Boston would be the favorite in the series. So I'm picking them. Like I said, I picked them to win the championship um, before the season started. I'm sticking with that. Even though I like Dallas, even though they lost last night, I really like the Mavs. So I think the Mavs would be somewhat of a issue. Then you got the Kyrie Irving situation. Him in Boston. The way he left wasn't great. So that'd be a great series. But yeah, this is the Celtics' time. They have to do it here. If they don't do it here, um, I think they ain't gonna have so much luck. I think the East gonna get better. Everybody always talk about free agency. Like Philly might add someone like a Paul George. That's the rumors out there. Miami's gonna be still there with Jimmy and Bam. So um, I think the Boston got to take advantage of this. Same thing I said about the Ravens in the NFL. I think this was your best time to do it. Maybe next year, next season, things might open up and then maybe a good chance again. But as of right now, I think next year it'll be harder. So I think Boston got to go ahead and close this out, get it done, and win the championship this time. Speaking of the Wolves and the Mavs, Game 4 was last night. Mavs was going for the sweep, but the Wolves held on. Anthony Edwards um, closed the game out down the stretch, but Carl Anthony Towns finally had a decent game, gave them some support. And then, of course, like I said, defensively, they was good. Luca and Kyrie struggled from the field. And then the role players were sort of shut out. Um, so the Wolves was able to get this one. Like I was saying, even with, after game 3, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves win this game and the next game. The next game is in Minnesota. I think they win that game as well. And I think Dallas will close them out in game 6. That's how I'm starting to see this series, how it's going to unfold. Because the Wolves are not going to give up. Um, Only thing I'm worried about with game 5 for Minnesota, can Karl Anthony Towns do it again? Because he's going to have to be consistent scoring if the Wolves will have any chance. Even if Anthony Edwards played well, even though this was his best game he had probably since midway through the Denver series. So we'll see if Cat can give him that consistent, 25 like he did, shoot well from the beyond the arc. So that's what he's doing. And then the Wolves good defensively. Um, but also, uh, maybe not both, but Kyrie or Luka's going to have a good game next. You don't see stars have 2 back-to-back games like that. So at least one of them two is going to have a good game. So can Minnesota withstand that? But I think they will, at least for the next game, for game 5. I think Dallas is going to win it in 6. I think Minnesota wins the next game as well at home. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but like I said, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Dallas is going to be the winner. Somehow I make some type of preview of the finals. But I think Minnesota is not done yet. I think they'll win game 5. And then I think Dallas will come home and close them out at 6. I think that's how it's going to go. Um, and But I ain't gonna lie. Maybe it's because people keep talking about it, but because it almost happened last year. Boston was up what 3-0 on Miami. Well, Miami was up 3-0 on Boston, and Boston got it all the way to Game 7. I can see. I wouldn't be like I said. I wouldn't be surprised now if they do it, win it. I'd be shocked somewhat, but I think they could push it all the way to 7, and then Dallas maybe finish them off. But I think it's going to go 6. I don't think it's going to get to a game 7, but because if it get to a game 7, of course anything can happen. But I just think uh, that Minnesota home crowd, they ain't gonna want to lose at home. Then I think they go back to Dallas and then they lose. That's how I think it's gonna happen. So, but good still, I thought these. Well, I knew. Well, the Indiana series, I picked that as 5 with the one, but of course Boston swept. But this series, I thought it would have been more back and forth. Like Luca, even though I'm a fan of Luca and Kyrie, but I just didn't think. I just thought the Minnesota defense would slow them down enough that Minnesota would. Actually, I picked Minnesota to win the series. Um, but obviously I'm wrong. Dallas. I'd be shocked if they blow this lead, but. You gotta just keep getting one. So see if Minnesota get the next one, and which I think they will. But I think Dallas will finish them off at 6 games. I think that's how that's going to go. All right. So next week, just stay tuned. We'll definitely have the matchup by next week. So I give my preview on it. I might just dedicate a whole show to that. So we'll look into that um, in the next couple of days. We'll see how things unfold there. So, other NBA news, of course, sad news. I think it was Monday. Bill Walton passed away with his battle with cancer. Um, of course, well, I'm old, but I'm still kind of young. I didn't see Bill Walton play. It was a little bit before my time. But of course, he was drafted in the mid 70s by the Portland Trail Blazers. He won a championship with them in '77. Um, had a real bad foot injury. Really never was the same player, but still was somewhat productive. Went to the Celtics. I think won another championship. It was an '86. It was a six man. Um, but I more remember Bill Walton from television, NBC, which we found out, which I didn't touch on much, but they about to get the NBA back in a year because TNT lost it. People been talking about that all week. Um, so it looked like inside the NBA is going to end. That's what everybody was talking about. Um, unless something happens or actually happens between now and next year. Um, but yeah, he was color commentary for NBC. Um, uh, he was basically like the second team because it was really Marv Albert, um, Peter Vesey. It was a lot of guys. I think he might have worked with Marv too sometimes. But anyway, this studio work then when ESPN picked up the NBA, and NBC lost it. Um, he went over to ESPN, did a great job with them. Um, but in fact, he's famous for "throw it down, big man, throw it down." That was his saying, you know. But just so was charismatic. Really knew the game of basketball, but it seemed like a humble, nice person. Of course, I didn't know him personally, obviously, but he was a joy to watch on television as well. His voice, he knew who he was. Then he started doing college basketball, which he was a great college player. Yeah, Kareem did what he did, but he pretty much held it down as well at UCLA. UCLA was like the big man factory there. So um, had a great NBA career. Like I said, injuries um, took him down. He is a Hall of Famer. Um, but just sad, anytime, like I said, you only get one life, so anytime you hear about a passing, it always just make you think, So, um, condolences to his family. Like I said, I was a Luke Walton fan as well when he played for the Lakers. Now he's trying to find his way at coaching. Um, so, like I said, I lost my father years. Now it's been was it 24? It's been 11, going on 11 years. So I don't care when it happens. Um, it's hard, to lose a parent. Both of my parents are gone, so um, just hopefully he's doing well. Um, but Bill Walton, he was 71 years old, died of cancer on Monday. So NBA loss, an icon. Um, and like I said, his career was short by injuries. He could have been one of the great. Some people still put him in that great big man group. But like I said, the NBA, his injuries pretty much took him down. Um, and he, became a bench player, but he was great with the Celtics. And like I said, he was a great commentator for NBC and ESPN. So um, rest in peace, Bill Walton. Just with the touch on that. That's been big news this week. All right, let's move to the NFL. The NFL, of course, it's the off season. People have OTAs and things of that nature going on right now. So before you know it, the season to be here. Like I said last week, we're gonna do the roundabout series again. Um, Probably around after the NBA finals, we'll start doing it. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go backwards this year. I think I'm gonna do um, the West divisions first, and then move to the East last. I think that's how we're gonna do it this time. Just to be different this season. But I can't wait to get into that. It's always exciting to get a chance to talk about certain divisions and certain teams. But today I want to touch on. I think I seen the topics on one of the sports shows about basically who's under the most pressure this season to win. So I made a little list. Didn't really spend a lot of time on it. So, matter of fact, let me pull up NFL teams because I probably touch on a little bit of everyone. But uh, I made a list of the 5 teams I think that's going to be under a lot of pressure this season. Um, at number 5, I got the New York Jets. I got the New York Jets because Aaron Rodgers has been talking again. He always talking to the media, saying this, saying that. Then basically the narrative is now he's basically running the organization. Like anything he wants, he's been getting. And yeah, he got hurt last year and missed the whole season. Then even with that, he came pretty much. They would say he could have played in late November and all of December, but the Jets was sort of pretty much out of it. They still had a decent. Well, I won't say decent, but for the circumstances, they still won 7 games. Um, so you think that could at least be flipped. And then the way the Jets and the AFC is just tough anyway. So I know people go by strength of schedule and all that. I mean, yeah, but um, I think that's sort of skewed sometimes. How hard your schedule are, 'cause it depends on what division you in. That's why the whole AFC North, I think 3 of the top 4 teams got got one of the stronger schedules, but it's because of how strong the division is. You playing each other twice a year. So Jets, the East. Of course, we all know what the Bills about the Bills. We're gonna talk about them in a second. Actually, we all know what the Bills gonna be. We'll see what Josh Allen do. Miami, to me, is the steadier team. Like if everybody healthy, that's the team I probably um, believe in the most, slightly over Buffalo. The Jets, like I said, we had to see. New England is definitely in the rebuild mode, but we'll see what they do this year. Um, but the Jets, because of Rodgers, the way he's been talking, putting a lot of pressure on themselves, so we'll see. But it's not impossible. I think they can win this division. Like I said, the defense hold up, and we'll see. Like I said, Miami have questions, and so do Buffalo. So the Jets could they could win this division. So um, we'll see. But I think they got a little bit of pressure on them because of all the off-season things. I just talked about the Bills. They fourth on my list. The Bills, of course, the Bills get rid of Stephon Diggs. It's more to me. It's about Josh Allen, not necessarily the Bills as a team. I just think if they struggle, of course, Sean McDermott been rumored to be fired for years. So we'll see if this is the year. Now every day's coming out about Stephon Diggs. Basically, he was just uh, I don't want to use the word cancer because we just talked about Bill Walton, but basically a disruption in the locker room. Basically, they were saying he was the issue. Like I think that's what they basically said, telling us. So now that he's gone, can Josh Allen stay on that elite level? The receiver core is young. He's mobile, so he definitely gonna be able to be mobile out the pocket. But can he be a steady quarterback as he's been with Diggs? I think that's the biggest question mark for the Bills. So I think the pressure individually is on Allen, but I think as an organization, as a team, I think the Bills, like I said, been bumping their head. I think if they don't improve or do well this year, I think you could see an overhaul, at least with the coaching staff for sure. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Me as a Ravens fan, um, I think the pressure is more because how far we got last year, and like I said, I still feel like I don't want to say we blew opportunity. I think we still were capable of winning a Super Bowl, but last year was the year to do it. Like I said, Kansas City was down somewhat. Um, you see what we did to the Niners. That would have been our opponent if you didn't think Detroit was going to get through. Even with Detroit, we destroyed Detroit as well. So I just thought it was there for us to take it. We just couldn't do it. And now everybody improves, even inside the division. So I think with that alone, if they take a step back, I think people will be thinking about this last season, like, dang, we should have. This was our chance, because that's how I feel as a Raiders fan personally. That's how I feel. I feel like we might have blew it, and now that things are gonna be harder, um, we might have blew our opportunity. So I think that's the first thing a Raven fan is gonna think, if we don't win it this year. So I got the number three. Number two, the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are probably always on this list, if it's a list every year. Now they got issues with um, Dak Prescott's contract. Basically, he probably had to play for another one. Um, so this could be his last year with the Cowboys. Dallas, of course, won 12 games with 3 straight seasons, but pretty much nothing to show for it. The off season has been horrible. They haven't added anything of significance, um, especially at the running back. Um, they had no new running backs at all. They didn't draft one. I think that's a glaring weakness on offense for sure. Defense, they get some guys back, but we'll see. Sort of up and down last season. But all the talk, of course, is always about them. So they always will probably be on this list. But they number two for me because same thing. It could be a lot of changes if things don't go well. The Eagles did all what they did, so the Cowboys are feeling the pressure as well because the Eagles finally, sort of broke down last year, which I predicted. Dallas was able to win the division, but the Eagles improved those weaknesses, so um, that's going to be. We'll see how they fare with each other. I think in that division, Washington, of course, rebuilding, even though they just drafted Jalen Daniels, and the Giants is sort of the question mark. Um, uh, you can see that they have potential to be something, but we don't know. So right now, the sure thing is Dallas and Philadelphia. Excuse me. So I think the Cowboys will be facing a lot of pressure this year, a lot. So we'll see if they can pull through and see what that can do. Because now he's playing for another contract. But the number one team on this list to me, and maybe it's just me from outside looking in, is the San Francisco 49ers. Again, fell short of a Super Bowl to the Chiefs. Had them, did the right just like they had in the first game. Um, so that's two titles they could have won. Even if you go all the way back to me as a Raiders fan, that Super Bowl, even though we pretty much was dominating before the lights went out, but the Niners was right close for that Super Bowl as well. So really, since the golden era with Rice and Young and Montana, they had lost three since the turn of the century. They lost three Super Bowls. So, and then the problems in the house. Debo Samuel still has issues. Now it's Brandon Ayuk. Um, so we'll see if those situations get better. If not, um, Brock Purdy also still being somewhat doubted. Is he the real deal or not? So all this stuff going on behind the scenes as well. The division got stronger as well. I think the Rams are somewhat back. Um, Seattle still going to be a little bit of an issue. And then the Arizona Cardinals, I like what they've done in the draft. Marvin Hurst Jr., of course, and other pieces that they added. Kyler Murray, a full season under him. So I think they're not going to be a pushover either. So we'll see how the Niners handle that. Um, but I think they got the most pressure just to win because they've been so close the last few years and couldn't get it done. So my top five teams under the most pressure to win. I should have added that to the notes. Jets at 5, Bills at 4, Ravens at 3, Cowboys at 2, 49ers at 1. Now, the list I saw yesterday had the Bengals on it, and the Bengals are in the Ravens division in the North. Similar situation with San Francisco, Cincinnati. Uh, just see this is more than T. Higgins didn't show up for OTAs, nor did Jamar Chase. So both of those guys probably looking for paydays. Burrow, can he stay healthy for the entire season? Um, that's going to be a factor as well. So I could see why, but I just didn't put them on this list because I think, you know, first of all, they're the Bengals. Um, as a franchise, they never was expected to do much. Um, and then the division that they in is tough. So um, I just didn't think they would feel. I mean, yeah, I mean, some probably have high expectations for them, but I think overall, I don't think it's as much pressure as these teams on this list. Let's see. Um, I think Cleveland might got a little heat with them as well, but this more individual Deshaun Watson, so maybe you could make an argument for them. The South, I say Jacksonville maybe because Trevor Lawrence seems like he's sort of hit the ceiling a little bit, in my opinion. So I think the Jags will have a little pressure this year. Um, some people said the Chiefs, but only why I dismissed the Chiefs because nobody never won three in a row. So just on that alone, by history, and that's why it's gonna be hard for me to pick them this year. Even though my mind is saying pick them again, but I might just go with history and just pick against them again. They prove me wrong, but that's why I don't think it's no that much pressure. I mean, it's pressure because you're the champion, but nobody's never won three straight. So um, I already said Dallas. I think Philly has a little bit of pressure because they because all the moves they made. So I mean, I put a little bit of pressure on Philly as well. The North probably just Detroit because now the expectation, now you got real expectations. You finally did, you won the division. So can they do that again? I think the rest of the teams are young. Green Bay, even though they made a step forward, I just think Jordan Love still growing. Of course, Minnesota, Chicago are rebuilding. Even though the Bears have made a lot of offseason moves that they could possibly win this year. Minnesota, we'll see how long it takes to go to McCarry. So from Michigan, we'll see where that goes. The South, I'm gonna say I would say a little bit of everybody, even Carolina. I think Carolina got to improve. Atlanta because they just got Cousins, so they got some expectations now. The Saints, like I said, I'm personally done with the Saints. I've been trying to get behind them the last couple of years. Now they talk about Derek Carr's not a short starter, like so the New Orleans guy have issues. Tampa, only why I say a little bit Tampa because they just won the division, so we'll see if they can improve on that. The West, we already said San Francisco. Um, I say Seattle a little bit, and so just because Geno Smith the last 2 years has been out of nowhere. So Rams, maybe because McVay. I mean, I guess you could say they got a little bit of pressure. Arizona, no, I don't think they have a lot of pressure on them at all. So all right, so that's with that segment. I'll come up with something next week as well. If we on next week. Um, but I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. We're about to just wrap it up. Thanks, shout out to my man B again. He came through, left a like, so appreciate you, bro. Um, Final thoughts, not really much. Um, like I said, I'll let you guys know if I'm on next week. It depends on my work schedule. But I've been on the last 2 weeks, so I appreciate that. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, I gotta do some more shorts. I haven't done any shorts in a while. I gotta do some more shorts with the Switch and even with sports topics. I need to do some more shorts just to get the channel. Cause the channel, I ain't really been doing much of nothing. But I am at 291 subscribers, so somebody subscribed in the last couple of days. I appreciate you, whoever you are. Thank you so much. But I think that's going to do it for today's show. I really don't have much more to add. Appreciate everybody for coming through. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing. Like I said, if you ever want to talk sports or if anything, definitely feel free to reach out. I'll definitely get back to you. Um, and I appreciate you guys so much for the support and the patience you have had with me. But I'm gonna try to do more content, at least something, you know, instead of waiting on just doing something once a week. Um, so with that being said, thank you guys. Um, you were at 45 minutes. That's not bad timing. Um, Next week we'll preview the NBA Finals. Even if it's a short, we'll do something. But I'll see if we got a show next week. I'll announce it at some time. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, YouTube. I'm Troy West. Shout out to my man B again. And everybody enjoy your day. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you so much.